Hi, hello. Welcome to my first, I'm calling it broadcast because I like how that sounds. My name is Anna, or River to some, and this is my project, The Craft of Being, a podcast by way of a series of candid conversations and interviews where we dig into what the heck even is creativity, undefined yet definitive. I am in this era of living to consume stories from other humans, share their aha moments, and root for the undeniable presence of every individual's creative muscles. There are creative strengths within all of us, within you, yes, you. And we will talk about how this evolves with us across art, work, and the pursuit of, well, everything. So let's get to know each other briefly before we start this whole thing. I'll go first. My thoughts have been relentlessly orbiting around this concept that creativity is really an innate muscle in all of us. It's unique in that for each person, that creative muscle is of a certain shape, size, location, but every person does possess creativity and can activate it, and probably does activate regularly, even if they don't always recognize it that way. This need to really understand this came into focus as a small obsession when I began to deconstruct and slowly reassemble my own understanding of what being creative was all about. I had some rock solid little artists that could days. I was stunningly committed to feeling, making, showing, rinse, repeat. In my 20s, it was spaghetti on the proverbial artist wall. Make it louder, brighter, scrappier, darker, funnier, more beautiful, tear it all down, rinse and repeat. I did everything that I could to take the things that were on the inside and put them on the outside, to share in my digestion of the world around me. Look, I made, I do, I live. I was being creative, yes? Certainly. And I was surrounded by my friends, a collective of other humans doing the same. And we made, did, and lived it every day this way for years. And then I kind of looked up last year at age 37, mostly full time mom, love it, and independent producer of things with a heavy focus on the crux of logistics, events, immersive theater, experiential projects, film, and media. But it's a far cry from clowning in a black box theater or building an art installation out of bottle caps and paper mache for fun. So, how did I go from being a writer, actor, weekend painter, moonlighting as a mixed media craftsperson, clown, dancer, to someone who coordinates? Was that a fair characterization of the state of my work? How did I feel about this shift in my creative output? What is creative output? Was I still creative? You can see how the spiral began. And it was one afternoon out in the desert, coordinating for an event, that I experienced a moment of real clarity that my desire for living a creative life every day was alive and well. It was repackaged and rehoned and used just as much as ever. And then I looked around more at the people I've been surrounded by through these many versions of my life, the folks who are alongside all the youthful art projects and beyond, like my friend who was a day in and day out theater maker with me, who now continues to tell stories through shepherding connections via events and food curation, local community growth, and guest experience expertise. My friend who used to say, "Oh, you want to throw what kind of festival in 3 days? Oh, sure, I'll find its essential magical core and manage all your community touch points with one eye closed," who recently launched the content editorial email program for one of your favorite movie making companies. My friend who pioneered a camping comedy festival with lasers and cuddle puddles and 4 a.m. improv shows and setting art pieces on fire, who can now be found procuring stilt walkers for corporate America's marketing events. Yeah, still the same kind of creative, actually, just different packaging. And then I reflected on friends of mine who have jobs that don't fit a traditional creative mold, as we may have been conditioned to expect. Like one of my oldest friends who was composing jazz charts in high school and is now very clearly using that same penchant for taming organized chaos into delighting and capturing attention in elementary school classrooms, designing thoughtful syllabi. My friend who might tell you she's just a therapist, when really she's been gently assessing and laying out stepping stones of the truth bearing stories about ourselves so that we can self reflect. She did this for her friends in our youth, and she does it now in her practice. These are also examples of an attuned, creative process being utilized. As the quote goes, intelligence having fun. And so further my spiral went, well, why don't we more often differentiate creativity from its cousin, capital A art? And why don't we more often appreciate that, whether in someone else or ourselves? And I noticed a pattern. I started to see these repeating archetypes of creative strength everywhere I looked. I would ask people what it looks like and feels like when their intelligence is having fun, when they are receiving, processing, and sharing information and ideas. And as they waxed or doubted, described, and yearned, I saw types emerging: storytellers, collaborators, problem solvers, experimenters, visual thinkers. This list is not rigid or all encompassing. These are like little umbrellas, and most people probably resonate with more than one. Maybe there's another I'm not considering altogether, so please tell me. But when you start to notice which creative instincts come naturally to you, it can totally shift the way you see yourself as someone who is already inherently creative. I'm going to break down what I see in these types. Problem solvers are the ones who see a challenge and can't help but figure out a way through it. They turn roadblocks into stepping stones, break things down into manageable pieces, and thrive on finding solutions. So if you love troubleshooting and mapping out strategies or seeing patterns where others see chaos, this might be your creative sweet spot. Storytellers weave meaning into the world. They see life as a series of interconnected threads, shaping ideas and emotions into something that resonates, whether through words, film, movement, music, or something else. Storytellers have a way of making us feel, connecting the dots in ways that really leave an imprint. Visual thinkers process the world in images, sketches, colors, shapes. They don't just see things, but they translate and organize abstract ideas into something tangible and clear, whether it's through design, illustration, photography, or just mapping out ideas in a way that makes sense to others. Visual thinkers bring creativity to life in ways that words sometimes just can't. Experimenters are the wild cards, the boundary pushers, the ones who are always asking, what if? They're fueled by curiosity and aren't afraid to play, break, test, start over. So if you love diving into the unknown, following an idea just to see where it leads, and embracing a little chaos in the name of discovery, this might be your creative home. Collaborators thrive on connection. This is me. Creativity for them is a shared experience, an energy that builds between people, sparking something bigger that any one person could create alone. They love bouncing ideas off of others, shaping a vision together and making the whole greater than the sum of its parts. So, where do you see yourself in all this? Maybe in one, maybe in all five, maybe somewhere in between. All this to say, creativity is not an elusive muse that occasionally graces us. It's a powerhouse of energy within everyone, needing the same kind of nurturing and attention as any other skill set or muscle. If you've ever felt the cascading excitement of each project element clicking into place as a concept almost effortlessly comes to be right in your hands, that's the true power of creative alignment and efficiency. I'm using the word project, but it can be really of any kind, something for work or pleasure or interpersonal dynamics. So tune in and pay attention. You are doing the thing. I'm not a scientist, but I did some digging. Fulfilling creative activities stimulates neuroplasticity, strengthening the connections in your brain. So actively being creative keeps your brain fit. So think on those five I mentioned. What do you think? Whichever is the case for you, your creativity is there. It's just a matter of recognizing how it shows up. So together, let's wonder some wild things. At what point does a pursuit become creative? Is there creativity in a custom spreadsheet? Why is a blueprint less creative than a Rothko, and to whom? I'm not suggesting we'll ever really get around to answering that last one to satisfaction, but we are going to get damn close because we are going to meet and talk to as many different kinds of people as we can about what the heck even is creativity, right here on The Craft of Being. The Craft of Being is produced and hosted by me. Music is Wide-Eyed by Colin O'Brien Lux. Big thanks as always to my dogs for barking through at least 6 minutes of every single recording session. Definitely check out the show notes for Colin's Bandcamp, and if you want to get in touch, come find me on Instagram at The Craft of Being, or send me an email at thecraftofbeingpod@gmail.com. Thanks for being here, and until next time.